Welcome to Grizz's workshop. This great lummox is Grizz.
Not an expert or an exemplar of safety.
Peterborough Cathedral are hosting an art exhibition, open to all. They asked the art and the artist to have a connection to the local area. I live nearby. I lived in the city for several years and worked in the city for over 20 years. My piece is intended to be a kingfisher diving into water. The inspiration of the piece is the first time I saw a kingfisher, which was in Ferry Meadows, a park in Peterborough. All I saw was a flash of blue. It's often everyone's first view of a kingfisher as it darts along the water. The influence of the design comes from the world of Art Deco glass and the photography of Mario C. Sanchez, who captured and edited this picture, which is stunning. I am using Karuin wood, which is from Southern Asia. I picked it up as an offcut from my local sawmill. It's a nice wood to sculpt with. It has varying colour from like medium brown to an orangish brown. It's very porous and takes a lot of finish. I took an image of a kingfisher diving from the web and cut it in scale and used it as a template. I went to the bandsaw to cut what I could. I headed over to the bobbin sander to refine the shape. This took some time to get close. Then off camera, I put the kingfisher into the sleeve I created in order to hold resin. The idea is to form a trail like seen in the photo. I also poured a base into the mold on the left. For the base, I started with the solid colour resin that you can see I used on the tabletops around it, and then once I'd finished with all the pouring the tables, I just went with a translucent greenish blue, starting darker and getting lighter. After the first kingfisher pour had set, I took it back to the bandsaw to trim the trail. and I headed back to the bobbin sander to refine this. Wasn't happy with how the pour turned out, so I did it again, but this time I used a piping bag instead of my DIY sleeve, and this worked much better. I had to cut the trail with the bandsaw just to do a lot of the heavy lifting here, so the sander didn't have to do so much. Now to pay attention to the base, I'm going to demold it here. These molds can be tiresome. They take much longer to take off than you'd expect. They do fight back, do a great job in general of retaining the epoxy, the silicone doing most of the work there. I make these molds with the floor protecting plastic you see here, staples and silicone. I usually staple it to the base, or you can see in this case it was a smaller base that I poured the base onto, which I took off. They do occasionally leak, but more silicone often solves this problem. Took the base to the bobbin sander this time to try and get a better shape, as the plastic had warped at the top. Wasn't quite a circle anymore, but I wanted to get as close as possible as I could. Then I sanded the Kingfisher again with his trail. I tried not to go too fine with the sandpaper. I wanted it to look frosted, which is, like I say, where I got the inspiration from the Art Deco glass that I like. I'm pleased with how it turned out. Again, I did frosting on the sides of the base as well, but the top was clear, so it'll diffuse the light coming in from the side, but it'll still reflect the bird like it does in the image. I finished the bird with boiled linseed oil and Renaissance wax, and just polished the base with a acrylic glass polish. No finish on that. Here's some shots of how it looked in the end.
See you next time on Grizz's Workshop.